the main menu. We have things like events. So you can schedule out events that your agency may be hosting, and it will build out a list of events for you, and you can have people go in. They can register for those events, or they can even put it onto their own calendars easily. We have one called leadership, which just creates kind of a profile for leadership that you want to um, display on your website, whether that is board members or just your directors. That's where you'll go to kind of create those profiles, and it'll create that on the leadership page for you. Next, we have things like meetings. So if your agency has board meetings that they need to be posting up, that's where you'll go, be able to kind of post up all the upcoming meetings that you have, and then there people can put it onto the calendar. You can post up your agendas and your minutes that that you have saved on that, so you'll be able to meet compliance. So we've kind of geared that meeting content type for those boards and commissions and people who need to post it up for that's requirement by law. Next, news press release, just like as you would figure, it's just where you can post up different news articles, press releases, announcements that you have for your agency. And then these last ones here, we have resource. So resource are going to be those documents you'll be able to post, whether that is resources for state statutes and laws and rules, things like policies that you have for your agency, or any other kind of documentation that you need to share out for the public. And we'll go over that a little bit more in depth here in a second. And then lastly, we have services and web forms. Services are going to be, it's something that we're going to be pushing out here soon for all your agencies to be able to identify all of the services that your agency provides, whether that's online or offline services. We kind of have a generic content type for you guys to fill out for each individual service, and you'll be able to identify who the audience is, who is it, online service, is offline service, how do people go and interact in order to get your service for your agency. So that's something that we provide out of the box for our distribution. And then lastly, we have web forms. So web forms are just kind of like how you're thinking of it. It's a form that you can put on your website so people can go in, fill it out, and then be able to send that information over to you. We're going to be actually hosting a little a training session on this at our user group next week, just to kind of get a little bit more in depth so people can see how they can create those forms for their website, so you can collect data as you see fit. But I know I'm throwing a lot of information out at everybody. Does anybody have any questions, at least on the content itself? Okay. Moving on here, for our admin bar, we have our structure. This is where you kind of go to edit any kind of categories that you see, whether that's document categories. You'll be able to change some stuff around here. There's not much you can do here with your regular account. But just know this is structure. This is where you got to go for menu items and those type of things. Appearance, we don't need to worry about that. And then lastly, there's other stuff we don't need to worry about, but there's just a bunch of more admin stuff. So whether that is for additional modules, for people, for accounts that you need created on your website, but we usually handle that. And then lastly will be just configuration type of stuff. What I do want to bring to everyone's attention, though, to here is that's also a part of our admin bar, is this user feedback that's in the right-hand corner, the right bottom-hand corner of your site. So it's on every single page. So what you can do here is that this just allows you to pull up this simple form that allows you to submit tickets to us and our maintenance team. So if you have any questions on your website, or if something's not functioning functionally, properly, then you'll be able to kind of go in here, identify it, talk about what it is, and we'll know exactly what page you're talking about, who it came from, and then we'll be able to address those things a lot sooner. But that's I wanted to point this out as well for you to be able to take advantage of. Any questions on the admin bar at all? All right. So moving forward here, what I do want to show you is that when you're logged in, one of the other additional things that you'll see when you're going in to edit your pages, stuff that's been worked on, is that you'll see this tab menu that comes across the top here. This is where you'll be able to kind of go in to easily change and edit the body of a page, or you can even manage the layout, which will take you to this layout builder for you to kind of add in more text content, images, move some stuff around, and we'll go over that more in depth later. But this is kind of where you can also go into kind of change some things, edit your banner images, slideshows that you have on your website. You'll be able to do it all from here um, as well. So, but jumping ahead a little bit, what I want us to kind of take a look at is adding content onto your website. So the first thing that we want to go over here is just we're going to add a content, and the one we're going to choose right now is just going to be resource. So when I add in a content, what you'll see here is that I'm brought to this create content page. They're all different for each type of content you're doing, but essentially what you're doing is that you're filling out these forms and you're adding these individual fields for the certain kind of content that you're doing. So here, what I'm doing is I'm creating a resource. This resource obviously can be a document that I'm uploading. It could be a link to an important website that I want my users to know in order to navigate to. So, for example, for this one, let's just say we'll call this new policy. The document type is going to be a policy. Scroll down, and then I have the ability to either upload it as a link. So if I have a Google Doc that I want to share with everybody, just so I have one place, and if I change it at the Google Doc at my Google Docs level, it would change everywhere that I need it to be. So I don't have to worry about re-uploading onto the website. I could do that, or you can also just add a document. It's a document and upload it so it is on here as well. So what I'm going to do for this one in particular is just going to be a document that I'm sharing um, that I've uploaded. And then in the description here, I am actually going to throw in some lorem ipsum in here. So I am, sorry, I was using my lorem ipsum generator here, for example. If you're looking for a good lorem ipsum generator, Cupcake Ipsum is the way to go. So, and I'm going to click save here. So when I click save, so all I did was just create a new resource. This page will pop up. It kind of just shows me kind of the overview. It's called the new policy. Here's my description of that resource. The document type, it's a policy. And then here's the document that I uploaded. So when I go to the resources page, that new policy is now built into my master list of all the resources. So if I had a separate page that showed just the policies, it would also be put on there, but it's also on this master list of all the resources. And then within the resources itself, I can just easily, if I wanted to search for something, I can search by title. It will show me everything that just has new in the title, or I can search for it by the type. So I can pull up all the policies that I need to, or you can search by keyword. So the keyword actually will go into the body that you posted for more context. So it allows people to kind of search through that way as well. As you see here, we have this more info button. This just allows you to, if you're uploading a policy, you're uploading some type of budget report, whatever it is, you can add a little bit more context. So when people want to know some more info about this in particular, you can have it written down here. That's what the body is for. so that people can just easily um, click on this and it'll show them some more context to the document or resource. Does anybody have any questions on the resources? So, for those of you who have maybe got your hands on a new website that our vendors did, and you look at your resources page, one, it may be something that I want to take note for everybody. You might see the resources page, and then one, it may not have been in your original website. It is something new that we're doing so people can build out those document repositories of all the policies, budget reports, whatever it is you share, to kind of go through that way in order to upload those resources. So, what our vendors do and identify is they will find all the documents you may have posted on your website and then upload them as resources. So you might see a lot of things in there that may be old and you don't need anymore. But just note that when you are in there, it's pretty easy to kind of go through and delete what you don't need. So for this new policy, for example, if it was something that is old, didn't no longer need to be on your website, you will see these little pencil icons that pop up around the site. This allows you to kind of go in and edit things, whether that's a block of text, whether that is your homepage slideshow or banner images used throughout your website. Just know that when you see these, you'll be able to kind of easily edit these things. Now, one thing to take note of: there's this button that says "Quick Edit." Definitely avoid that at all costs because that will break it. Not break your website, but that will break at least your instance of uh, the admin layer for the site, and you'll just have to clear out your cache on your browser in order to fix it because it will throw this overlay on there, and then it's kind of hard. You can't click on anything, so it's more of a nuisance. It's something that we're going to be getting rid of. But just avoid anywhere where it says quick edit when you guys get your new sites or you guys are working on this today. So, but I did want to show just how quickly either I can go into this new policy, edit it, take me back here, do what I need to do with it. Or if I go back, I can easily just remove it by deleting it from the resources. So this will be deleted from the website. So no longer will see it on the resources page, nor will I see it on the policies page that you may have. So, but it's kind of easy to kind of just remove those things in case you are seeing some old content pop up. But yeah, does anybody have any questions on resources at all? Okay, so the I do want to go into our first activity that we're going to do today. I'm going to switch back over to our presentation here. What I would like everybody to do is to create a resource that will appear on this resources page. So I want you to add content. Go to add content. You're going to create a resource. The title can be whatever it is that you want. Choose whatever document type you'd like to do. So you can either add a PDF document or you can just do a URL to a website, whether that's Google, whatever it is, and then add a description in there and then click save. So I'm gonna give everybody about 5 to 10 minutes to do so. Let me know if anybody has any questions. All right, give about a couple more minutes here. Anybody have any questions? Anyone have any issues? All right, we will go ahead and start moving forward here. I'm going to go back to the website. So here I am on the resources page. I would just refresh it here. As you guys can see, some of the ones that you guys have already posted are on here. So for this one, for example, is a training. If you go to more info, it has that extra stuff you can put into the body to give it a little bit more context itself. But again, this allows you to kind of, as you can see, when you add in content for the website itself, we have pages that are already built out for you to kind of just take advantage of. All you need to do is create the content and it will go to where it needs to go. Resources being an example of that. Other places you'll see that obviously are going to be for things like events, news articles that you post up. So these aren't much different. So again, if you wanted to create an event, you want to create a news article, it's as simple as going in, clicking on add new content. And then if I want to create an event, it's the same. You're filling out information here. It's just a little bit different depending on what kind of content you are creating. So again, quickly, we'll just call this new event. You can categorize it as such and say that this is just a seminar. We will just use the default time that's here. I will put in, you can add in an image for the event itself. I'm just going to take this landscape that's already in here. And then go ahead. You can add documents, do what you need to do. Then again, throw in some lorem ipsum. Again, great place to do your lorem ipsum, cupcake ipsum. Take that, go back, throw it into my description. Tags, let's just say cool events, seminar. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. And then as you see here, build out my event page. It looks like the image is broken here. But when I go to events, my new event pops up here. So as you can see, it just kind of easily just adds things to the places on your website without you having to worry about placing it in places. So, but does anybody have any questions as far as uploading some of these pre-existing content that we have? All right. So the next thing I do want to show you is going to be basic page. So again, we're adding content, but basic page is probably one of the main kind of content that you're going to be creating for two reasons. One, you want to add something to your main menu. You're posting up some static information you want to share to the public. Basic page is usually the route that you're going to want to go. So for this one, for example, I'm going to call this cool page. And then I'm going to throw it in I'm going to throw some lorem ipsum here in the body. So This will give me a static body that I can work with. It'll place it and create this basic page. One thing I want you to take note of is that some things that we can do with this particular content and not the other ones, or we wouldn't want to do it with the other ones, is going to be this menu setting. So because this is going to be kind of one of those main landing pages that people can go to on my website, I'm going to want to put this into the actual main menu. So when I go to the menu settings here, I can click on provide menu link. So this will create a menu link that I can place it in the main navigation. So right now it kind of defaults in the main navigation, but if you click on that, you can actually nest it so it's under one of the other main items of the website. So in this, if I wanted to put this under the about section, this cool page can be, I can put that the parent link as about, and so now I will be under the about section. But for this case, what we're trying to do, I want to put this into just the top level main navigation. So I will select that. I will leave everything else as default. This other stuff here, you have a URL alias if you wanted to change how it functions within like the actual URL of the website. You could change it there, but definitely I would recommend just keeping it as the default because there's patterns that run and make it easy for SEO purposes as far as categorizing things. But then the last thing you have promotion. You can promote it to the front page for things like basic pages. Those don't do anything, but for like news articles, if you're trying to feature a certain news article, if you promote it, that will put it into the featured section. So just something to think about. But for this one in particular, again, I'm just going to click save. I added it to my main menu. And this gives me just a basic run-of-the-mill static page to kind of work with here. There's nothing really going on here, but as you can see here, I've added it to the main menu itself, and it's just a simple static image or static page. Does anybody have any questions on that? So with this kind of static page, this is kind of a good starting point for if you're creating landing pages. Again, for something to put into the main navigation that you can easily kind of making it look a little bit more interesting. So for this, what I kind of want to go through, we talked about it a little bit, was that layout builder. So when I select layout here, this pulls up this builder that has kind of default regions for me to kind of put some information. As you can see here, here is the main body that I had here. There's a placeholder here for main navigation. So this actually just will display out and build out a sub navigation. So if I were to put more pages under my under cool page, or if I were to put this into the about section, it will start building out that menu for you so you don't have to worry about it. So if I'm in the about section, I will see all the about section pages. So you'll have that there. Obviously, we have the title, and we have the breadcrumbs that are here. So one thing I want to do is that I want to go through and I want to actually create a banner that goes across the top of the this page here. So when I'm in the layout builder, you have the ability to add sections and you have the ability to add blocks. Sections will create out different areas for you to add in blocks of information. For what we're going through today in this basics training, we're just going to be adding blocks. So don't worry too much about don't click on adding section. Adding blocks of information is what we are going to want to do here. So what I want to do is that I want to create a banner image. So section 1 is a good area for that because it stretches across the entire page, this particular section. So when I click on add block, this right-hand navigation item pops up here. And this is where I'll go ahead and create that custom block. You'll see the big blue button at the top. Don't worry about all this other stuff. You don't need to worry about these things. Just focus on create custom block here at the top, this button. So when I click on that, you'll have the ability to create different types of blocks of information. You can create things like accordions. You can create a banner image. You can create a slideshow that goes across the top. You can do one that's just a simple image. You can have a Google Maps in there. There's different types. And I would definitely say when you're get your new site or you're playing around with your new site, try out what these different components are. You can even take a look at it a little bit more in depth. So if you go under landing page here on the main navigation, there's something called available components that actually shows you all of those different types of blocks and the way that they look. Just so in case you see something you're like, oh, I like the way that looks, I want to create that for my page, you can go ahead and do that. So for this one in particular, I did want to create a banner for this page. So I will go ahead and select on banner, and this pulls up this little area that I can fill out. So this is similar to how we're filling out information a for a content type that or content that I'm creating. We're doing that here. This is just called a block. So for this one in particular, I'm going to just leave the default title that's here. It's just called a banner. The title, I'm gonna call it cool page. The description, again, let's throw in some lorem ipsum, but I'm gonna shorten this up a bit. Um, just do a couple sentences. And then I am going to link off to, actually, I'm not going to put any link in there, but you have the ability to put in a little call to action button if you want people to select something and then take you to a different page. You have that ability. For this one in particular, I'm going to add in an image in here. So when you're adding in an image for a block or for a content type, they're pretty much straightforward. Here, I can either select one that's already been uploaded onto the website. So you can go ahead and just select one in here, and then you can throw it in and use it as a banner. Um, but what I want to do here is kind of go through what it is like to kind of upload an actual image. So if I wanted to upload my own image that I have saved onto my website, I can go ahead and click on choose files here. And I'm going to in something here real quick that we can use. So I'm uploading an image here. When I do that, you can actually, it'll take you to this area here where you have to put in the alternative text. Just remember, whenever you are um, uploading an image and you see the alternative text, definitely fill this out. You want something that's descriptive. This is what's used for screen readers. So people who are visually impaired and need help kind of navigating through your website. What the phone does is that it actually talks back to the person who is visually impaired. So when you have something that's descriptive in an alternative text, that way that when somebody who is blind and is being read back to them, you don't want to put something in here generic to being like photo, because that doesn't give context to the person who is using the screen reader and says photo, what is the photo of. So you can just be descriptive as you can. It doesn't have to be too long, but just so if you're explaining to somebody who is blind what you're looking at, that's what you want to do here. So let's just say image of the Colorado River, Colorado River, um, over river from a balcony. Simple. Um, so when you do that, you're descriptive, and then you're going to go into this crop image area. So what this allows you to do is that when you upload images, instead of having to figure out what dimensions you need or how you want it to look, instead of doing it outside, you can do it within the website itself. So you'll have the different types of crops here. And when you first upload an image, you do have to go through each individual crop to make sure it is set. And so once you do it, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So for this one, say for the card, for a card crop, I'm going just to move it so it looks like that. When I do have the cropping applied, that's what's going to appear, say cropping applied to this crop, but I have to go through each individual one to do it before I can actually upload this image. So for this slideshow, I'm going to go with just the default. Cropping has been applied. Go to the banner, So the banner image is just a little bit narrower than a regular slideshow. So I'm gonna crop it right there. And then lastly, we have a square crop. Let's just say I'm gonna go on this side and do that. So and then everything else you can kind of leave as default. You'll see this show in media library. You don't need to worry about that. That was something that was from our very first build, and it's something we're going to remove. So it doesn't do anything if you ever check that or don't check it. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and click save. So now that I saved it, that image is now in the repository for the website, and you can reuse it in different places. So for this one again, I want to use this for my banner image. So I'm going to select this, go down, say insert selected, and throw it in. This will show me for my banner. I'm going to put an overlay on it, which means that I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. So the words that I put on it will pop out a little bit, and we'll keep it as white text. I'm going to add the block in there. So I'm going to add the block in there. It has now created this banner that goes across the top. So I'm going to click on Save Layout here as an example. And there's my banner. So taking a look at this, there's a few things I want to change on this page. One, I don't like that description. It's way too long, goes across. I'm just going to go ahead and just remove it. So again, there's different ways of going about changing that. So one, you can, if you hover over this image, you'll see these little icons that pop up. You can go ahead and go to click save layout or edit layout, or if I go, it's kind of popping up. It's not. There's another thing that kind of pops up below there. But I'm gonna go back into the layout builder here. I am gonna scroll down, click on this pencil, and go to configure. This allows me to kind of go in, change what I had just put in there, remove that description, and I will click update. The other thing I do want to change here is that I have cool page here as the banner. It's kind of like where my title is at. So I don't want it to be repetitive. I can go ahead and just remove this in particular. So click on remove. And then now I have something that just says cool page, and then it has the body of everything that I need in there. So when I click on save layout, I have that there. So that's kind of just the beginning stages for what I can do here. Another thing I can start doing is start adding in different images that I want to go across the top of this. So again, if I were to go into layout, and let's just say I want to add in something a little bit more visual here, I'm going to add in a block here that's going to be let's just say let's go with text with image. So it's put an image side by side with text. So here, again, I'm going to use just some lorem ipsum. I'm going to upload. I'm taking media, add it onto here. I'm just going to take one that's already uploaded. So I have to go through that process right now. And then I am going to click save. And this just gives me a simple, quick text with image side by side with each other. And then let's say that's what I wanted to do. Go ahead, click save layout. And I'm adding a little bit more visual appeal to the website itself, to this page. Does anybody have any questions? So essentially, when you get your new website, a lot of this stuff is going to be built out for you already. What you want to do is that you want to just be able to kind of change some things around. So right now, what we've been doing has been creating new pages, which is very vital, obviously, if you're expanding upon your site itself or you're editing things that are already there. But If you got this page itself and it's already there, just know that that's where you kind of want to do it in order to kind of edit information. You go to layout, uh, that's where you're going to go in here to edit your banner images, to edit the text that's in there, some of the text that's within these things as well. You just kind of, this is where you kind of go in to quickly change some stuff around on your new site. So, in case you did have questions as far as figuring those things out, that's kind of how you'll go in. You go about kind of updating some of the stuff that's already in there for that's on your site. But this will lead us on to our next activity. So I'm going to go jump back into our presentation here. And what I would like you guys to do is that we're going to create a basic page. We're going to add a title, add some lorem ipsum into the body, it could be whatever. And then under the menu settings, go in there, provide a menu link, and then the parent item should be a cool page. And then you're going to click save. And then on the layout, I want you guys to go in and add a banner image, just like we did, just like how we went over. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll give everybody about 10 minutes to do so. All right, we're about halfway through. Does anybody have any questions? Anyone running into any issues? All right, jumping back in here. I'm going to share this site. So as you can see here, we have had one site, one page being built here. So I'm just going to refresh it just in case anybody else had submitted theirs. So taking a look here, once we added on to under cool page, for the one who did task 2, just kind of simply threw up a banner image. Everything looks pretty good. One thing I would definitely to note, so you might notice that the title, the banners appearing here, we can easily change this. So if I go into edit here, for example, I'm jumping in here. Oh, sorry, wrong area. Back. We go to the layout. And for this section, it doesn't appear on here. However, if I go ahead and click on configure, oh, it's not displaying there as well. Why is this one displaying? Sorry, threw me for a loop here for a second. Not sure why this particular banner title is being displayed. I might look in that later. But usually, what could happen is that there is an area where you have the ability to select display title, and when that does happen, that will obviously display the banner, the description there. Um, Again, I'll just have to fix that later. Anyways, so it looks like we got the idea down. Okay, there, where you can easily just kind of add in those banner images, create those pages. Does anybody have any questions about that process and kind of using blocks themselves? Okay. We are running up on time here. We have about another 18 minutes. What I would like to do is just kind of quickly go over our kind of before our last task here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna create a new basic page here. I'm gonna call it the food. On the body, I'm gonna leave blank because I know I'm gonna create this landing splash page that we can easily do. I want to put that in the main menu. So I'm just click save. So this should just give me a basic page that's blank, and I have it now in the main menu. So looks like how I want it to look, at least to get me started. And now I'm going to do some stuff here. Okay, so again, I'm going to go into layout. We're going to just create this kind of landing page here for this one. I'm going to throw in. I'm going to create a simple slideshow here. So if I click on slideshow, and you have the ability here to create the different kinds of slides that you want. So for the first slide, I'm going to add in an image. Just going to take this one as an example. Scroll down, save it. Slide title. I'll just call this brownies or brownies. Slide text. Look good. And then text, let's just say this goes to what you can do here is that you can put in a full URL or something. So it'd be like HTTPS, google.com is an option. You could do that. But if you're trying to link to things that are already on your website, you can easily type in the title of that page. So for if I want the about, it will pull it up here. So I select that. So now that link will point directly to the about page. And then for the link text, I'm just going to put learn more. I'll create an overlay. Again, just darkening it up a bit. And I'm going to add in one more slide here as an example. So this is how I can easily just create as many slides as I want for my slideshow. And then I can just drag and drop them around however I feel it needs to be for this page. But I'm going to add in another image here. I'm going to select let's select this one here. And we'll just say a plate to eat, slide text. We'll leave that blank. Let's say that this will point to the resources page. And then link text, learn more, add an overlay, and then I'm going to add the block. So this allowed me to kind of quickly, easily just add in a slideshow to the top of my page. What I want to do is that I want to get rid of, I don't need this here, which is just the title. I don't want it for my page here that I'm creating. I'm going to remove that. But what I would do want to do is that I want to add in these things called, they're called card sets. So what this allows us to do now, and we'll create these kind of call to action buttons, these cards, which is a little bit of information and allows you to kind of select through different pages or have links off to things. So I'm selecting this one called card set. I'll kind of show you how to quickly build one. For this one in particular, the default, I'm going to go with a basic card. The view mode, this allows you to it depends on how many cards you want to create. They're all going to be side by side with each other, so you can have 2 cards, or you can have side by side, or you can go up to 4 side by side. If you keep adding new ones in, they'll just kind of go below it and keep going through that 4 column or 3 column look. So for this one, I'm just going to do a quick 3 here. So I'm going to call this one food 1. The image here, let's select one here. Let's go with these tacos. Insert selected. URL. Let's just go to landing page 1, 2. That works too. Learn more. This is food 1. Add in another card. Food 2. Add in media. Take the ice cream. So selected. URL. Landing page 3. Learn more. This is the card for food 2. And add just one last one in here. So we'll call this food 3. Add media. I'm taking another one of these brownie pictures. Selected. This one I'll go to google.com. Learn more. This is the last card of 3. And then we'll go ahead and add that block. So what this did is that this created a card set. So it kind of just shows you the 3 different types of cards, and they'll put it right next to each other. And you can kind of, you have the title, you have a little bit of a description to work with. But when I click on this will take me to those pages that I have set up here. So when you create these things, it's kind of easy to move some stuff around. So if I wanted to put this down so it's next to the menu, the sub menu navigation, I can go ahead and do that and then click save. I'll save the layout. But as you can see here, kind of putting it into different regions of where you can post stuff is simple enough. And as you can see here, after I save the layout, I have my my slideshow here, which is pretty large. And then we have the card set that I created here. And again, if it because I have no menu items for this particular page, what I want to do here is just go ahead, go to layout and move that back to where I originally had it, because they're going to come up a little bit more prominent. So move that up there, save the layout, scroll down. It's a little bit bigger. However, I did notice that it jumped the breadcrumb. I want to change that. Move that back up, click save, and then now we should be good. Here, we got the breadcrumb, and then we have my card set that I have here. So this just kind of quickly how you can kind of build out these visual pages, whether that's your home page or landing pages you need people to go to. You'll be able to do that. So we've kind of gone over how to create those kind of basic content, those structure, the foundation of a lot of these pages, and then adding in those components or these blocks that you can of information that you can kind of share with people for visual appeal, or just have it be so you can structure your information a little bit better. So that leads on to our last task of the day. I know we have about like 9 minutes here. I'm going to be sticking around in case anybody has any questions. But uh, going back to here, let's go to our last task. So what I would like you guys to do is that I want you to add a content. We're going to add a basic page again. I want the title to be your favorite restaurant. You don't need to add a body. We're going to do that later. And then under the menu settings, make sure you pick the parent item to be the food, which is the page I just created. And then click save. Then I want you to add a slideshow and a card set, just like I did. And then you can add a basic block in there for the description of the restaurant below the card set itself. So I'll give everybody about 10 minutes to do so. If you have any questions, uh, please let me know. All right, as people are kind of wrapping up stuff here, does anybody have any questions as far as this last task here? Okay, so just taking a look forward, next week we do have a user group training, a user group session. So if you haven't been to one before, what they are is that simply just all our users, whether that's developers across the state or simple content creators for the websites, we all meet just to answer any questions you guys have about the process, how things are going, any questions you have specifically on your website that we can go over. It's just a good learning session. People just kind of communicate and talk with each other. Then I also do want to give a little short training session on web forms themselves to kind of give people a small overview of how to create those web forms and kind of how to go about publishing them the way that you would like to have on your website. But before we call it a day, does anybody have any last questions about the training, about maybe your website that we can go through? Yeah, just let me know. All right. Kind of just going back over the last of the website. We do have a submission here for the Chick-fil-A. It was delicious. So let me I don't know why I think it's not selecting it. Here we go. All right. We got a page here. So it's just something. If you guys have any questions as far as adding in those things, you may have done it, but you got to remember to save the layout itself, and then it will publish to where it needs to go. It will be left in that stage as you're working on it, that draft stage, until you publish it and you're ready to go. Yeah, that's all I have. Does anybody have anything else before we end it here? All right. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody.